I'm Michelle McKay with Galvanized Iron, and we are here with the man with the plan. Uh, he is the sole contributor to creating the Vietnam Army Grunt Museum. And Mike Lind, I'm going to put it to you.
Yes, I built this building here, and I had some space. I didn't know what to do with it, so I decided that I wanted to just pay tribute to the men and women that served in Vietnam, because in my opinion, with what I see happening in our country, with tearing down statues and changing names of forts, and I felt that the Vietnam War will be just a footnote in the school books. They won't teach it. And I think that World War II, being such a global war, will always be in the history books. So I started out, I didn't know anything about a museum. I hardly went in one in my life. So I just started thinking about it. And so what I did is I wanted to do it through pictures mainly to tell the story of a 12-month tour by the Army. Now, you got to remember, Marines have to always outdo the Army. So they had a 13-month tour. So anyway, I started out, the main feature, and because I had limited space, I had to cut who I was going to open this to. If I opened it to all the services, I could get overwhelmed with donations as far as whatever flags and everything. So I was a Vietnam grunt in a museum, museum in the North Vietnam, in Vietnam. I'm sorry, but anyway, so I limited it to a Vietnam Grunt Museum. So the highlight of that museum is a life-size mannequin depicting a grunt with all the gear that the grunt carried in the field. Now, a grunt is a term that was coined in Vietnam, and it represents that limited amount of service personnel that were on station in Vietnam. For instance, when I was there were over 500,000 military in Vietnam. The grunts represented 10%, 50,000. The grunts are those soldiers that went face to face with the enemy. After a month there, I said, oh, I know what they're doing. We're the bait here. We're the bait to draw in large units to attack us and then unleash our unlimited artillery, air force, everything else we had to wipe them out. So I always said, we're the bait. They sent small units out to comb the jungles and the mountains, etc. But it was it's been a really heartwarming to me what the museum represents. I think I've had so many compliments on it. It's not a big museum, but it tells a story. And I'm trying to. I opened this museum just before the onset of COVID, so I was really shut down for a year and a half. So this is the first real year that we're trying to make headway. Early on, before COVID, I did have elementary school tours come in, which is what I want to expand upon to educate them on the war and those 58,000 names on the wall and honor what was done. None of us wanted to be there, me included. We didn't want to go to that. I mean, sometimes there's really dead guys that really want to fight, okay? Even in society, right? They want to bully up and start throwing punches. But 90% of the people didn't want to be there. Um, when I left, said I'd never go back. And I've been invited back to go on tours and things. No, that's it. Uh, Vietnam to me was closing a chapter in my life. I moved up to the other chapter. I was married. When I got back, we had 2 boys. I had a new job, so I did that. And then I was fortunate enough to step away from that job after several years, come to San Antonio from Florida at the time where I was living. And started my own company. I was in a little office down here on IH-10 and between Callahan and West Avenue. It was about 10,000 square feet. We outgrew that. I rented space on I-10 again by Loop 410. But I woke up one day, I said, you know, I'm in the real estate business. I shouldn't be paying rent. I should be owning something. I had my eye on this site here for several years, but at that time they hadn't made this road that's out in front yet. They wanted me to put the road in, and then they'd sell me the land. And I said, nah, I don't want to get in that government business of building a road. I'll wait until they build the road. I'll probably pay more money, but it's worth it to me. So I bought the site and built my home office, and it's been really acceptable in the community. So proud of it.
Absolutely. So could you tell me a little bit about the event we have going on tonight with our special guest, Mathew Modine, who I had the pleasure of meeting with earlier, and his pictures that you display here at the Grunt Museum?
Yeah, that was by happenstance. I've been active in the military community with the Purple Heart organization and with various other charities, and one of the leaders of the charities by the name of Tony Fuentes said he got a call from this gentleman that was involved in the display of Mathew Modine's personal art collection that he took while taking pictures on the site when he wasn't acting. And so he asked me if we wanted to display it, and I said, oh yeah, that'd be great, bring it over. That was in May of this year. So we got it here, set it up in the museum. It really complements the museum because you can see the fake war and the real war side by side. So we put it up, and Mathew Modine said he would be able to come at least pay a visit, and he was supposed to be here in July, but he's filming some things and he's at work, so he couldn't break away. This was the only time he could, and he gave us about 30 days notice to do whatever we wanted to do. He didn't dictate what we wanted to do. So we said, let's turn this into a fundraising event for the museum, and that's what it is. The museum, besides just having guests, and it's free, I don't charge anybody. And if they want to buy, not buy, if they want to get a hat or a t-shirt, it's a donation. They'll get one of those things. But the thing the museum does is it brings veterans together. So any group of veterans, 10 or more, I invite them over. We tour the museum. The camaraderie goes crazy. When you get together, these vets don't talk much about what went on until they're together. Then it all pours out, okay? So then I treat them to a luncheon up on the rooftop of the building, where we go through more talking and commiserating with each other. And that's been a real highlight of what the museum does. Eventually, the museum, if it can continue raising funds and getting things, will expand its reach. We are expanding our reach now because we take a group of pictures from the museum and plaques and those sort of things, and we send them to apartment properties that we manage around the country and do a memorial wall. And so that's been a huge success. I'm not there to determine to see how many, but asking the people that work there, say, oh yeah, a lot of people really appreciate it. So I just wanted to make sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for hosting the event.
All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here this afternoon, and I'm going to say a few words. But before I say a few words, I wanted to ask Judge Sakai to come up here and speak to you guys. Judge Sakai is one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. He's donated all of his spare time to helping children that are in the foster care system and watching over them to make sure that they wind up in a safe place. And there's no better work on earth that I think you can do to that. And that's how we actually met Judge Sakai, was through a charity called the Forgotten Child, which provides toys, food, clothing to kids who basically don't have a home anymore. So anyway, Judge Sakai is running for the county judge, and we've gotten behind him in a big way, and we usually don't get political. It's a dicey situation when you're a business and you pick the wrong side and things don't go right and you suffer. So we try to stay out of that arena as much as possible. However, when the judge contacted me and told me he was running, he's what's right for San Antonio. He has a heart of gold, and anybody who devotes their life's work to helping kids can't be that bad. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to let the judge say a few words, and then I'm going to come back on to talk a little bit about the event. All right, brother. Thanks, Judge.
Thanks. Wow, what wonderful words from David Lynn. Let me just say this. My name is Judge Peter Sakai, and as you heard, I'm running for county judge, but that's not what is important today. What's important today is to recognize all of us, we as a community that step up for our children and families. And I want to recognize the Lynn family, David, his father Michael, his mother Patricia, for their long commitment to the forgotten child. For over 26 years as a judge, I was always wondering how this lady, Synovia Coverson, who's since passed, would bring gifts every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, graduation, have a Bible for those kids that graduated from high school. And she would provide these gifts, and I'm like, man, where does this lady, she must be doing something illegal. But the bottom line is, I came to realize that the Lynn family was the silent, anonymous benefactor that supported this charity. And I want to give them a round of applause for their long-standing commitment. And that's the reason why the Lynn family and Judge Sakai are in together to help make this community a better place. And so I also want to recognize the Lynn family for their development and their commitment to affordable housing. That's one of my key issues, that what we need to do is we need to take care of our children and families. And we know that unfortunately we have a lot of them being displaced. And thank you, David, for that commitment, because obviously you can be at a much bigger platform, but you're also remembering those that are less fortunate, which is our Christian duty to take care of. And so finally, I want to recognize the Vietnam Army Grunt Museum, and for the dedication and the history and the dignity and respect to give all our veterans. And I want to give all our veterans and that museum a round of applause, because they deserve for their commitment and sacrifice to country. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lynn family. God bless you all.
All right, guys, so why are we all here this evening? So a lot of you guys may or may not know about our Grunt Museum inside, or have never heard of it before. This was the brainchild of my father, Michael Lynn, Sr., who fought in that war. A lot of us don't remember and recall what that war was like, especially the younger generation, because it wasn't like it was today. You had two choices. Here's your draft: go to war or go to jail. That's what it was like. There wasn't an option. It wasn't like I don't feel like it today, or I'm not that kind of guy, so I don't want to go. They had no choice. And who fought that war? A bunch of the poorest 18, 19-year-old kids in the country were sent to a place they didn't even know where it was, and they sacrificed everything for our country to have freedom. And then the worst part was, when they came home, it was a very unpopular war here in the United States, and they weren't treated very well at all. And that's the only war that we've ever been in where those troops and those people who served were treated like that. So my father, as he gets longer in his life, has looked back and said that his military service is the most profound thing he was ever a part of in his life, or ever will be. So with that, he said, you know what? I've always wanted to do something to give back to the men and women who fought alongside me in that war, because there's a lot of injustices that he saw with it. And one of the main injustices he saw with it is that entire war was fought by, 18 to 22-year-old kids, and they were all grunts, and they were the ones who paid the price. It wasn't the generals back in the, rear and all these other people. It was those people who fought in the war that were young and sacrificed their lives. 58,000 of them approximately died in that war. So my father wanted to create a special place here where those veterans and that war would not be forgotten, because in today's world, people like revisionist history, and when something wasn't popular or wasn't something that they like to hear, they just write it out of the history books like it never happened. But I promise you, all those families of those people who died in that war, they don't forget. And it's our duty for us not to let people forget it. And that's why this military museum was born. So now what does the museum do? The museum, not only does it bring awareness to the war and keep it alive for those folks who fought in it, but on a regular basis each week we feed veterans for free. We have school tours at the museum. We give quilts and honor quilts, what they call quilting, to the men and women coming home from the war. One day we recognized all the nurses, the female nurses, who got no recognition for the war and their effort that they played in it. We had all of them here to the office and had a huge day and an event for them. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a shameless plug for a second, just to let everybody here know that our rooftop up here at Lynn is called Sunset Terrace. This event is actually being put on by that division of our company that rents that out in this entire parking lot for venues. We love to partner with nonprofits and help donate certain portions of what we get so they can raise money. So anybody who's got weddings or events or other things, please go online, look it up, sunsetterrace.com on the internet. You can go up there, you can see our venue and your next corporate event. If you want to have it, we'll roll out the red carpet like we did here and hold that for you. Now, how did this event come to happen? Well, number one, Mathew Modine, who is one of my favorite actors of all time, so I got really lucky on that one too. I'm all the way from Visit Quest to Private Joker to Papa. I'm all the way through it. This guy's had one of the most successful careers, and I told him this earlier when I met him. I was at the TV station down there talking about him and this, that, and everything else. And, you know, it's funny because the younger people know him as Papa. The older people know him as Loudon Swain. And then the other guys know him as Private Joker. So when you span all generations, you've done something right. So congratulations to Mathew on your career and all your success. And more importantly, guys, I want to be clear about something. Anybody can write a check. That's easy. He's here giving his time. And he could be doing a lot of other stuff. Okay, the guy's in demand. He's on one of the biggest TV shows in the country. And he doesn't have to be here. He could be doing a lot of other things. But he's not. He's here. And he's given his time. And he's given his photography to our museum for life, which will enhance it, make it a much more cooler, fun place to go. We'll get some of the younger generation in there. We may have to throw a picture of Papa up in the corner or something to get the younger kids to want to come, but we'll figure that out. So anyway, so we decided to give his photos to our museum to enhance it, and then more importantly said, you know what, I want to do more. I want to figure out a way for us to do something more. This afternoon, we had over 150 Purple Heart recipients, amputees, and veterans here at the office. The lunch was wonderful. Mathew was great, did a Q&A session with them, and made them feel important. Because you know what? Too many of the guys sitting in the room have never had someone tell them how important they are to this country because of that war and the negativity around it. So thank you again for Mathew for being here for that lunch. That was amazing. So without further ado, those of you who may or may not know, our company is a real estate company. But you know what? To be honest with you, we like having that business be very successful so we can make a bunch of money and help a lot of people. That's what we do here. And if you are not a human being that reaches out to help somebody, I don't have a lot of respect for you, because I believe that's why we're here on this earth, is to be successful and help others be the best people they can be, because every single person that you do that for is a win for the world, because we produced a quality person. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with is a story Mathew actually told me. So I'm going to use it for the first time here because it actually is an amazing analogy for many things in life. Here at Lind, we work with disadvantaged youth. We give them scholarships to go to better schools so they're not in inner city schools. And when you help other people achieve them to be the very best they can be, he gave me an analogy, and this is a true story. I actually looked it up because I thought he was bullshitting me for a minute. But when I did, it is a real thing. So there's an experiment called the flea in the jar. And the flea in the jar experiment is if you take a flea, which can jump about 9 feet, which is kind of scary, on their own, and you take them and you put them in a jar, a mason jar, and you leave them in there for 10 minutes or whatever, the flea will jump and its head will hit the top of that jar, okay? When you take the flea out of that jar, it will never jump higher than it hit its head in that jar for the rest of its life. Why? It's limited. That's human beings. We place limitations on ourselves. We are the only thing that can stop us from doing anything we want in this world by saying, I can't do that, that's too difficult. And all we try to do at Lind, in every single thing that we do here in the charitable world, is take that lid off that jar and show people that they have unlimited potential and that you can reach it, and we do what we can to support them to do it. And we've got many, many examples for that. So that's what we do on the charity front. That's separate from what we do here in real estate.
Semper Fi to my fellow Marines, and for everybody that served or had family members that served, thank you. My family, I'm the third out of 4 generations that have served. I got to know Mathew Modine about 15 years ago when I was working with the Veterans Group, and Mathew called us and he wanted to do something. He just didn't want to give money. So Mathew would actually come out on amputee bicycle rides and actually bicycle with the warriors. And he would bond with them and he would spend time with them. And that was more special to the warriors than any donation that could have been made. And if you had a chance to see his Full Metal Jacket artwork, it's phenomenal. It was in Houston in January, and he said, Al, I don't want to just box this up and sit this in a corner. Can you find another venue that would love to show my artwork? And that's how we found Mr. Lind and Lind Living, and it's been here for a few months. And then it was going so well, Mathew, and he'll tell you, he just wanted to give it to the museum as his gift to veterans of all ages, especially the Vietnam veterans. But as David talked about, it's oh so important for the younger generations to know the sacrifice of those that went before them. So I'm very proud to be part of this. I've been a veterans advocate for 30 years. That's what I do. And any Vietnam vets, I'm going to do a plug. They just passed a law. They just made hypertension and a few other disabilities presumptive for Vietnam vets exposed to Agent Orange. So if you're a Vietnam vet, please, please go talk to somebody. A county VSO, VFW, American Legion, anyone. I do it privately, but you need to go talk to somebody. And if you're a Persian Gulf vet, they just added about 20 disabilities to the list where you're presumptively service-connected for. So absolutely make sure everybody follows up on that. That being said, enjoy the movie. Have a great night.
A man who needs no introduction. David, you're amazing. I mean, my wife always says, speak from your heart, and you do. And we see your heart and your family, the generosity you have for the community, and I love you. I don't even know you, and I love you. You know, and I love this family. I look forward to coming back often. Anytime. Yeah, thank you. I've spoken to a realtor. They're talking to me about even finding a house here in San Antonio. They say, why do you want to live in New York City and pay all those taxes? How many veterans here this evening? Oh my goodness. So, you know, one of the things that I don't identify with any particular religion. I'm spiritual, but I love when people look at their neighbor and they shake hands and say, thank you, I love you. So if you guys could all just sort of reach over and pat those veterans that just raised there and give each other some love, I think it's a really beautiful thing. Yeah, give each other a hug. Come on, take a minute, do that. And say thank you for your service. And Mr. Lind, this is incredible. This entire event, everybody that's here, what Chris Jett has pulled together, you know, with your guidance. I'm just tickled pink to be a small part of it. Thank you for providing a home for these photographs. The thing that I love about the Army Grunt Museum is that it's not a political anything. It's a place where we can celebrate the service of those people who participated in the war that you participated in, and yeah, and one of the things that is a problem that I think exists today is that when we were growing up, when we were kids, our nation was a piece of fabric. It was woven together. There's individuals that, and the fabric is strong when it's woven together and it's working together. That we've kind of come undone, and we're becoming a lot of threads. And so I think that what we have with what you've created is the opportunity to remind us that we're a fabric. That as the judge said, that three of the most powerful words in our Constitution is "we the people." And when we remember that we are we, and that there's a sense of community in we can always remind ourselves to be able to reach across the aisle to people that we don't necessarily agree with and find a peaceful solution to the problems that we face. It's what makes our country great, and we just need to always remind ourselves that we may not agree with somebody, but they're still our friends and neighbors. So with that, I'm so honored that I have my photography here and be able to share it with the people that come. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Thank you all for contributing and donating what you could, and always remember to smile and be happy. And if you don't know what else to do, be kind. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. All right.